born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
Welcome, athletes, into the gym closet. We're back with Amber.
Woo woo. Feels good to be back.
As always.
Did I miss 2 weeks in a row?
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Or did I miss a week? Was here and then I was gone again?
I think it was 3
I don't
weeks
know.
total because we
missed a
as
week.
a group missed a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were doing the coaches breakdown. So
yeah.
keep an eye out for new coaches breakdowns on the YouTube channel as well. But then, so 1 week we were doing coaches breakdowns, and then you were gone for a week and gone for a week.
Yep.
So yeah, welcome back.
Thanks.
And as always, Zach.
Yes, I'm here too.
Yes. So we got a good episode today. We have the full. We have what are you bringing?
Ooh, I don't lay it on me like that. No, it's National Puppy Day, so I want to talk about that because you just got a puppy.
Yes.
So this
Yes.
morning, Porter wasn't sleeping very good. He's kind of feeling sick, but so he was up at 4. I'm like, dang, I'm kind of tired under the 5 a.m. session. And Zach's like, I'm just used to it, but my effing dogs. And I'm like, that's right, you got a
Yeah, well,
puppy.
it's only been like 3 days.
So
but-
Cosmo's the older one, and
Yeah.
he's just.
Yeah,
he's
so
a worse sleeper than
Cosmo,
the puppy,
the puppy sleeps really well actually. So Cosmo has irritable bowel syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Not fun
has a
for
lot of stomach problems. So I mean, he always wakes up in the middle of the night. The thing with him that's
He's a
nice,
Frenchie.
yeah, he's a French bulldog, so they have health problems a lot. So the thing with him is that he's an adult dog, so like you can just, and we have a fenced-in yard now, so I can just open the door, let him go out there for 5 minutes and sit inside and come back in. The puppy, Kylo is his name. Kylo, he is such a little baby that like he can't even walk hardly. So like I have to like carry him down the stairs and go outside with him. And last night it was like cold and rainy. So every time Kylo would get up to go outside, Kylo would get up and want to come out with him.
Mm-hmm.
And
But not be able to.
but yeah, so I had to walk out with him like 4 times in the night
Oh,
last
no.
night, and yeah, it was just
Well,
a
the
whole
thing,
mess,
the
but-
problem is then Kylo's gonna start adapting to
right. I hope not.
Cosmo's.
He's actually a pretty good sleeper on his own.
Okay.
But,
And he's gonna just get into a
so-
routine of waking up 4 times a night.
I know, yeah.
Gosh, those puppies. But it sucks when you have to wipe their paws
So
off
where
when
did
they
you
come
get
in.
Kylo?
Sucks.
He is.
Or
We
is it
really,
like where did you get that name?
well, it's from Star Wars. I like
Oh,
Star
really?
Wars,
Okay.
and
I had no idea.
yeah, we
so
were-
who's Kylo in Star Wars?
he's in the last the sequels.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big sequel fan for any Star Wars fans out there, but so Cosmo is our first dog,
Mm-hmm.
and so we were looking at names that were like astrology or not astronomy related,
yeah.
not astrology,
In the
astronomy
stars?
related.
Yep.
And so we were looking through like a list of, we looked up like, astronomy dog names. And Kylo was on there because Kylo means sky in some other language. I don't
Cute.
remember. I
Love
think
it.
like Latin or something. And he's also from Star Wars, so
And he's
Nice.
a little
So
golden
it works out
retriever.
good. Yeah,
so
she's a golden
cute.
retriever.
You
He's
need to bring him
super
over.
cute.
You
I
gotta bring him
know.
over maybe this weekend.
I was
Yes.
gonna say the kids would love to play
Ooh,
with
don't miss
Yes.
those puppy days. though.
He's super cute.
I
might
love.
be
They're
going to the
cute.
movie
They're
this
so
weekend.
cute,
Yes.
but they're a lot.
Yeah, he's 8 weeks right now, so he's
Yeah.
he's just a little baby.
Nice.
So that's what I got today. That was the first part.
Okay.
Second
Awesome.
part is
I just wanted to preview it, but
second part USD women's basketball.
There we go.
Shout out to them because they upset Baylor.
Who they beat the week before? do you
Ole
remember?
Miss.
Ole Miss.
So they have never
'Cause they
made
were
it this
the
far. They have never made
15th
it.
seed?
I think 10th.
10th seed, yeah.
Yeah, 10th.
So they would have.
And Baylor was 2nd seed.
Yep.
Old Miss was,
So they beat an 8 seed Ole Miss.
I think, it was
And
something
the
like
second
that.
seed?
Yeah, and the 2nd seed. So now they have Michigan on Saturday in Kansas City, which would be so fun to go to. But
And Baylor's like they're like a powerhouse.
solid.
Women's
They
team.
are
I was
gonna
solid.
say,
The
they're like a
USD's
blue blood.
defense is,
They're like a blue blood
Yeah.
women's team.
Yeah.
they could get nothing. There's like a girl going to NBA or WNBA, and she had nothing. Like the defense was incredible.
I got this to work.
Okay.
So I need a timestamp.
I was like, did
Go
I
ahead.
say something wrong?
Nope.
Yeah, so that's fun. That was fun to watch. And we were like into it because I needed to go to the store with Ivy. It was Sunday night. But then I kept watching. She's like, are we going to the store yet? So I was like, no, I gotta watch this. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
cool.
pretty
It's cool seeing your alma mater when
Yeah,
they,
that is cool.
when they never make it that far. But
I was gonna say, especially
And then-
as a small
yeah.
FCS team.
And then Iowa
FCS.
State
Is that what they
Yes,
call them anymore?
Maybe I don't know anymore.
FBS Bowl Series would be what they used to be.
Yeah, but now with the playoff, I don't know if that's still
I don't know if it's still
the same. I don't know.
Iowa women's lost to Creighton. Creighton
Iowa,
beat them.
Iowa, terrible athletic for Iowa.
And the
Men's team lost. Women's team lost.
Who did the men's team lose to?
Men's team lost to Richmond.
Okay.
The Richmond
The
Spiders.
Spiders.
Yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan. Iowa wrestling, terrible
Oh, yeah.
at nationals.
Gosh.
I was
Third
gonna say,
place only.
That was in Detroit.
Yeah,
Jordan was there. He went
Oh,
and
really?
watched. Yeah.
yeah.
And,
Third place for Iowa wrestling is shit. That's
Good. Let's keep this going in a
pathetic.
football season, Iowa. Let's keep
Yeah.
it going.
Yeah, it's awful.
No,
It's
Iowa
awful.
State's in there. Women's and men's in there? or
Iowa
just
State,
the-
men's and women's, doing well.
Okay.
Also, just kicking me while I'm down.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't.
Who
Yeah.
did you fill out a
Junior
bracket?
night, basketball, anything?
They made. I think they made the NIT.
NIT. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't know how they did that.
Did you fill out a
honestly.
bracket?
I didn't this year.
No,
I
we
forgot
didn't
actually.
We didn't.
We
I
usually
was going. Usually I do. I meant to, and I just didn't get around to it. And then it was like the first couple games had already started, and I was like, oh. But then I was like, well, I kind of.
do. I know, because
I
those
don't
are the
know.
fun ones, like that you
Yeah.
pick the early teams on, because you're like, can
Yeah.
this team lose or not? But I know, now I think we should do a Crave one, that maybe next year.
I saw a cool idea of a competition inside of the gym during this time,
Oh, yeah.
where you do whatever competition and you compete in brackets. So
Mhm.
the team beats
That'd be
the team
cool.
or something. We'd have to figure something out, but
That'd be
do a
super
bracket
cool,
that
yeah.
way. That would be fun.
Because people love challenges around here.
Yeah,
so.
everybody loves their challenges so much. I didn't hear any complaining about the
So
challenge.
we should
yesterday.
add more into the challenges.
Yeah. Did you? So how did the challenge go over at Waukee yesterday?
It went really well. People that didn't complain, props to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
kidding.
feel like most people aren't complaining this one. Not
No,
that
most
it's too
people
bad.
aren't. I have a few names, but I'm not going to share them. They know who they are.
You know what
They know.
you did.
Hopefully you're listening to this. So you don't complain about it next week.
Right?
I did it and I was a little bit nervous, but
You had a
One
killer
thing that
time,
I've
didn't
noticed
you?
so far is that the women's times are actually faster than the men's times so far.
Are they a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I
means we
think
need to add
we
weight.
just-
That means we need to
We
add
need to add a
weight for
little
the
bit of
women.
weight for the women, yeah.
Do we?
I think we need to have like some tens on the side or something.
well, we can't change it
Stack a little
now.
weight.
Nope, we're not changing it
No,
now.
we won't. But
But if
That's
it was the perfect challenge, I was telling people the perfect challenge for us as far as weight adjustments and stuff would be to have the best times be almost equal,
Yeah.
which I think are pretty close. Like
they are close.
like you have a 140,
Mhm.
we have a 138 and we have a 138, 137 guys time. Some
Dang, who?
some rugby guys.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say our
Damn.
fastest guys time is we got one guy that broke 2 minutes.
really,
Yeah,
Nice.
Jack.
I think we
think
have
Coach
2
Dan
or 3.
had about 2 minutes or
I think Dan maybe
Right,
had like
right
3 or
around
2
there.
minutes.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
I gotta beat your 140
you
though.
do. And I gotta
So
be
we're
there to
talking
witness
about-
this.
Yep. No,
I
we
gotta
have to compete together
I
at
would
the
see
same
a head to
time
head
Okay.
because we have. And I was telling someone this. I was like, you can compare times and all of that, but if you're not actually there competing against each other, then it's not as
I'm in.
official.
I'm in. You can't slow me down though.
Slow you down. How would I slow you down?
Because if I'm like, okay,
Throw like a weight over there?
No,
As
Either
he's
way.
doing his reps, he's
Right.
also
I'll be like, oh,
actively
damn.
Slowing you down.
no, because I'll look. I just want to beat you, right? I don't give a shit about my time as long as I beat you. So then,
Oh,
if
so-
I'm
okay.
like, okay, well now I'm gonna slow down a little bit because I'm already like lapped him. Then you're gonna slow me down.
Wow. All right. Well, that's the thing is, you would not be able to slow down.
Right.
So-
No, I barely even stand before I press it. Like I went fast,
That's good.
and then when I got done, I'm like, shit, did I only do 3 rounds, not 4? But it was good.
That's that she only did 3.
Yeah, that's
So,
it. That's what happens.
Ask Jan.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I was there.
Oh, and one thing with the challenge too that I've just started announcing today is on your lifting cards too. There is a little spot on the side to write
Yes.
down your challenge time. So make sure that you guys do that too, and actually take the time to ask your coach what your time was. Because at the end of the day, that's the
That's
biggest
most important.
reason why we're doing these challenges. Like we've talked about it before a bunch, I know, but you know, if you can actually write down, okay, week 1 I did this time, week 2 I did this time, week 3 I did it, and be able to see the improvements from week to week. That's the biggest goal of these challenges is seeing yourself improve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and obviously, you know, being able to compete with each other and get in the top 10s and compete as a team and, you know, compete as individuals is awesome. But at the end of the day, the biggest reason that we're doing it is to see the improvements in everybody individually. So
Yeah, you got to track your progress. That's one of the things. We have a team commitment form that I know I've talked about before, but in that team commitment form, we talk about when you first join the team, we talk about tracking your own progress and making sure that we're not a weight loss transformation type gym. So if you want to see your progress, it may not even be on the scale. Most of the time it is, but the body composition stuff comes after performance, and when your performance is getting better, the body composition stuff happens. That just falls off. So that is what we concentrate on. So making sure that you're paying attention to those numbers and advancing through the process in a way that you can actually track where you're at. That's a huge importance. So.
And I've had a lot of people ask me that, actually. That brings up a good point too. Like one of the questions that I get a lot is, people are like, okay, I'm, really happy with where I am, weight wise. And cause a lot of people, like we talked about, we're not a weight loss transformation type place. A lot of people, when they're searching for a gym home, that's typically what people tend to have in their minds when they start. That's a big reason that will get people coming in the first place. So a lot of times they do have those kind of goals to start off with, and maybe losing 10, 20 pounds or whatever it may be. And a lot of people will get to that point where they've kind of hit that goal weight, and they tend to ask, what do I do now? Am I just at this point where I just have to keep working out just to maintain where I am? And I think a good thing to be thinking about is then more of the performance type goals where, maybe you're not trying to be losing weight, or maybe, your body composition's in a good place where you want it to be. And then you can, shift into that, more performance mindset rather than, just having to think of, okay, I have to go in and work out just to maintain this weight that I've lost now. Because that gets to be, boring and, not
only
super,
motivates you for so long.
Yeah. It's hard to stay motivated and hard to stay disciplined when your whole goal is, maintain my current weight. That sucks. It's not a fun thing to have to do, so. Yeah,
so just advance your goals to performance, and we have a whole bunch of things that are set up in that manner. And when you do that, like we have a lot of athletes that are at that point, and when you do that, it becomes more fun. We talk about, loving the process and all that kind of stuff, but it becomes more fun to train when you have that mindset of, this is going to help me squat more, whatever the movement might be or whatever, and that's my goal right now, or whatever the case might be. That's kind of the cool thing. And if you buy into the living like an athlete, the entire scope of that is continuing to push yourself, and that's why we put these things in place so that you can progress, and then maybe then it's if you've hit your weight loss goals, I want to hit top 10 on whatever, you know what I mean, and implementing some of those goals into your training, because then the challenges become more fun. That becomes an opportunity to compete, and that's kind of game day, right? So versus like, I got to do this challenge. If you come at it from a different angle and you say, okay, this is the game that I've been training for the last 2 weeks. This is my game. 2 weeks go by, you do another challenge. That's your game day. If you look at it like that, it's a lot more fun to do those challenges than it is like, this is just hard. You know what I mean? Like, and if that's the case, then you have issues.
Right.
So.
And like me, it's like I don't have weight loss goals or anything. It's just to live an athletic life. And the mental part of working out and how it makes me feel better is obviously huge too. But I love every season because right now I'm focusing on just getting strong. But I'm already looking forward to endurance season, because right now when I'm running for 4 minutes, like I suck at running. So like now I'm excited to do endurance, in 6 weeks to work on my endurance training. So it's kind of fun just to have those short little goals for 8 weeks when you don't have a specific weight loss goal in mind, so.
And that's
and it all sucks. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like, do I love endurance? No. Do I love lifting? No. I mean, part of me does, yes, but we're just like everybody else, right?
Right.
But we know we got to do it.
Right.
For just living like an athlete.
Right.
And we just do it.
Oh yeah.
You ready?
What's that?
Are you ready
There's a
now?
Am
lot
I
of
ready?
silence there.
Right?
Well, I didn't know what you were getting into.
Radio silence. Oh, I was just bending paper.
No.
Yeah.
I thought you were like deep into that.
No, I'm on fuzzy mode.
I thought we were getting something profound coming
I
next.
thought we were gonna
thought we were like,
No.
Did you guys do the sound effects last week?
bang!
Bam.
Ba, 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 ba. No.
We should have definitely done one in the
Which
where
one?
nobody talked for about 5 minutes there. We should have put something in there.
Well,
We'll,
you can,
look,
yeah.
we'll look back.
The editing
Come on,
gets
editing.
done.
Editing
will get
crew,
done in the
make sure you
future,
get on
yeah.
that.
Yes, we'll get that edited where we just put an air horn in.
So we can talk
random
about
spot.
the craving because we've missed it for the last 3 weeks. So we posted a National Margarita Day. That was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Best
Is that all?
margarita.
Is that all it's been?
Do you remember any of
feels
the
like-
results? No.
I think Me Mexico was one. We honestly didn't get that many. And then somebody said, please share if you do find one that somebody says. So Me Mexico, remember when we first moved here, we'd always go there
The
because their
shakers?
shakers were
Oof.
bomb.
In Mexico, very good.
But we never go there anymore.
We don't
so now
either,
we go
yeah.
to like Fiesta, which is great. They have good
Yes, that's
food.
good.
Margaritas, all right.
What's the one
Um,
over on Mill Civic?
El Monterey.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
El Monterey or whatever.
Monterey.
Yeah,
You're in Monterey Express, right?
Monterey
Those-
Express.
They're the same. They're the
Right,
same.
yeah.
Yeah, Monterey and Monterey Express are the same.
So the
and
blueberry
those
one,
blue,
the blue raspberry.
blue raspberry
Oh,
ones
those are good.
phenomenal.
They
yeah.
are good. So
And
I mean
apparently
that's
extra
a top.
strong.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a top contender for
Yeah.
sure. But then El Guapo. I mean they
Where's
have
El Guapo?
right down our
I'm so
street.
bad with-
You know this.
You
Right
could-
down our
that
street.
Yeah,
one.
El
I've never been to
Guapo
that
is like the
one. I've never
block
been to
over from
Yeah.
you.
It's
I've never been to
they
that.
have it's more of a fancy kind of
El Guapo is
hipster.
it's a bar that serves Mexican food. Like the best way I can describe it. And
I don't know though. Their tacos were bomb. Did you eat? You didn't like them?
What did I
But
not
anyways,
like? Did
the
I not
hot-
like my one $20 miniature taco? No. To be honest, I did not.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like great.
No, we were
no.
there, and I'm like not super picky about food, but like they were good servings for us. I don't know how long we went. Like 2 weeks ago. Maybe,
Oh, I was
3 weeks
starving.
ago.
I spent like $18 on my 2 tacos.
Okay.
Starving afterwards.
Okay, and I thought
It's
I thought,
definitely
like,
more of like it's like a bar. To me, it's a bar that serves food,
right.
Mexican food. It's like a
Yeah.
Mexican themed bar that serves food.
But
But
their
I consider
jalapeno
myself like
margarita
a
is-
Mexican connoisseur. So,
Fantastic.
So
Nice.
where was your margarita?
well, my margarita. So this is where is it food or margarita? So margarita, I like Los Tres Amigos, which is on Hickman.
Okay.
It's like right by Saints.
Oh yes, yes.
Kind of in the corner
Okay,
there.
yeah.
It's super good.
Yeah.
They're pretty cheap too.
Oh,
actually,
yeah, I've
there.
been
We've been there.
They're super
uh-huh.
good. Yeah, yeah. So.
I don't think we've ever had a margarita there.
They're super good. Just because
Yeah.
they're like, I like them because they're like really sweet. I get like a
See?
raspberry margarita and it's like super sweet, and I'm comfortable enough with my masculinity to say that too. Honestly,
Right, and I just can't like the raspberry.
someone made fun of me for getting a raspberry margarita, and I'm like, why?
If you're
They're
getting
good.
if you're getting a margarita though,
Yeah, they're all
They're-
girly. Like,
they're all they're all.
except the jalapeno one.
except the jalapeno.
But even that is a
No, it's and
anything
see, I'm-
anything
If you have-
fruity would be quote feminine.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If it's not a dark IPA.
right.
Yeah,
It's-
then it's more of a-
I fuck with fruity drinks all the
Yeah, I
time.
do too. I do too. Yeah.
No, so we'll yeah, those are
Yeah,
what we have.
The Monterey Express one.
So what do we have?
We
a
went
claim
to
for next
Monterey
one?
like a couple weeks ago with remember
Yeah.
Maggie and Lance and the kids. Like
Yeah.
that was legit.
Monterey
Those
Monterey
margaritas-
Express.
Or Monterey.
Monterey.
The
They're
one
both
on Mill
good.
Civic.
They're
it was
both
awesome.
fantastic.
Like the service was great, the food was awesome, the margaritas were good. So I don't know.
No
it's-
free ads. We'll
No
talk
free
to
ads,
we'll talk
right.
to them about.
We'll have to talk to them. I mean, it's the best.
Right.
Monterey's the best. Let's be real.
I feel like there's so many, like it's hard to
No, I can
Go to
I can
all,
definitely
but-
say that Monterey's the best.
Overall.
Overall,
food?
Mexican food. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Because they all are like the same to me.
Really. No, Monterey's definitely the best. to
Like-
me. It's got everything.
Probably because
It's got everything.
I eat very plain when I go to Mexican food. So like I'll eat like a burrito with shrimp,
Mhm.
chicken and
chicken,
cheese.
and cheese. Like that's
So it
what I
doesn't
eat.
get
Yeah.
It's all seasoned and Mexican
So I can't really tell the difference. But I mean it is very good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Monterey and Monterey Express are both.
Yeah.
We could even give Monterey Express this free ad time because those guys are awesome.
They
They're
are.
great.
They're
That's
They
true.
love us. We love them.
Mm-hmm.
We went there every
Wednesday night,
volleyball.
Thursday night,
so
or
we
Thursday.
got
it felt
we got
like.
volleyball coming
We got
up. We
volleyball
might
coming
have
up.
softball.
we've got a lot of
We got
stuff
a lot.
in the works right
Yes.
now.
So we got a bunch of stuff in the works. So keep an eye out for some of those previews and some cool stuff coming up. But do we want to get into our myth of the week, or do we want word of the week?
Myth.
Myth. Let's do it.
Myth. I don't even know how to say this is a myth, but we're going to talk about fitness watches and how stupid they are and how you shouldn't care what they say.
The myth would be that the fitness watch is the end-all, be-all
Right.
of tracking
of a good workout.
your workout, whether it was good or bad.
Right.
Right.
So a lot of people love to come in, and whether it's people in the sessions or people I do personal training with, they love to, make sure that they're getting their watch started on time. And it's like, oh, I missed the first 15 minutes of the session, so now it's like this whole everything I just did didn't even count because my watch didn't track it. Which is not actually how your body works. Your body's gonna burn those calories regardless. So the way that the Apple Watch and these fitness watches essentially come up with how many calories you burn is it goes into this kind of algorithm, this equation, and it just plugs these numbers in. And so it's based off of, a good one, I would say, would be based off of, your age, your gender, your weight, body composition. This would be like even above and beyond like what like the Apple Watch does. Mm-hmm. And plug some of these numbers in that are, personalized to you. And then it takes your heart rate, puts this into kind of this big, equation, this big formula, and it spits out an estimate. So I saw a study the other day, and Apple Watch was number 2 as far as like being most accurate. Okay. There was one that was more accurate. I can't remember what it was. But even the most accurate one is up to 40% off either way.
That's crazy.
So, if you, for the sake of a round number, if you burned 1,000 calories, which would be a lot, if your Apple Watch said that you burned 1,000 calories at the end of your workout, you could have actually burned anywhere from 600 to 1,400 calories in that workout. And that's the most accurate thing, which again is some random off-brand thing that I've never heard of before. The Apple Watch was like 50% either way. So if you burned 1,000 on your Apple Watch, it could be 500 to 1,500. So just one of those things that I think a lot of people get. And the thing with it too is it's great to use as like a motivational tool, and it's something where
to make sure you're moving enough throughout the day. Right?
If closing your rings, or if seeing how many calories you can burn in that workout is something that motivates you, and that's what gets you to work out in the first place, then that's great. But the things that are not helpful, not useful, are judging the quality of your workout based off of how many calories your watch said you burned. Because like this is a perfect example is tying in with last week with lifting weights and like kind of the residual effects of that afterwards. Your heart rate is not going to be as high lifting weights as it is when you're doing agility or endurance, right? So your Apple Watch is always going to spit out a higher number in agility and endurance season than it is during strength season. But like we talked about last week, a lot of the calorie burn that's happening in that endurance or in the strength seasons is happening after the fact, where it's not necessarily getting tracked. It's not necessarily something that your heart rate is going to be, way up 2 hours after the session ends, So, like I said, it has its place. It's, a great motivational tool, I think, to be able to, close your rings. And, if at the end of the day, you're, an hour from your stand goal and that gets you to get up and move around for 10 minutes when you otherwise wouldn't, that's great.
Yes.
But don't use your Apple Watch or whatever fitness tracker you use as this like end all be all. Today I burned 600 calories, so that's a good workout, versus last time I only burned 500, so that wasn't a good workout last time. So.
And we had an episode. I'll have to look at what episode it was where we talked about the entire thing was what are signs of a good workout, and so like sweating and different signs can help you kind of, again, the watch was one of them. Those things, calorie burn, those things can all tell you a little bit about that workout, but it's not going to tell you the overall benefit of that workout, because those all don't put into consideration the volume of training with weights, the different things like that. So you have to analyze your workout in a much broader scope. And when you do just look at the Apple Watch for calorie burn, or you do just look at did I sweat or did I not sweat, those things, they take that workout to such a small level. And if you and that's the biggest thing, right? If you don't plan your workouts, that stuff is probably more important, because your volume probably isn't there.
Right.
Your did you work the right muscle groups? All of that periodization that we do at Krave probably isn't there. So making sure that you did sweat is probably a more important part, but that is kind of the top of the pyramid when it comes to things you need to worry about. When the fundamental, the base of what makes that workout better or worse needs to be a lot more broad and have a lot different things working for that. Mm-hmm. And so so that, yeah, I think that's and the accuracy level, I think, is the number one thing for me that just
it's just not accurate. Yeah,
right.
It's just not. There's, and the thing that sucks is that, and I can't. What is it? Telemetry, direct telemetry. Is that when they measure the heat that comes off of?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. But if you want to Google it, you can sound it out.
Right. Yeah.
But that's like the most accurate way, and it basically measures like how much heat is coming out of your body, and it's like a small room, and it's temperature controlled, like with like pipes. So I mean, it costs
right.
Unfortunately thousands of dollars that we don't
but
have.
It's a testing
right
environment.
Right,
and that's the thing that true calorie burn is a measurement of energy burn, right? And so that's going to be the biggest thing, is how do you measure that with that watch? You can't be accurate,
right?
And so that's when those testing environments happen, so that you can actually do peer-reviewed research on a certain testing or a certain exercise protocol, right?
And a little side note, if you're doing nutrition and your watch is connected to your MyFitnessPal, it will take your calories off, so it'll say you can eat more, because you burn more. So watch that.
Yeah, because we take that in. We take your activity level into account when we do nutrition. We take your activity level, that includes your workouts, into account ahead of time, because the watches aren't accurate enough to base it off of. So make sure you don't have that connected. Yeah,
which is another huge point to make with that.
Some people do them, and I'm like, oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, because people all the time are like, well, it's again, it goes back to what we talked about last week, how your resting metabolism on that pyramid again is going to be the base that's burning most of your calories. So some people I know, someone asked me the other day actually, they're like, oh, I burned 600 calories in my session. Does that mean that I should eat 600 calories today? No.
Right.
You'll die.
Right.
Yeah. You won't die, but it's not going to be good.
No, you need to be in a deficit, so you actually need to only eat 500.
Yeah. Right, exactly. You actually should eat less than no.
Yeah, so that's there's a myth busted.
Yeah.
You can take it as a tool, and I feel like what we talk about, I feel like, is so middle of the line a lot of times, where it's like not romanticized and not super one way or the other, or there's not a ton of excitement when you do things right in exercise. And so it sucks, because like we should be like super excited, use this as a tool,
right?
Yeah,
well, like this
as one tool out of 20 tools,
right? There's a ton of tools,
tell you if your workout's the best,
right?
And this is a fancy word for using this as one of those 20 tools.
Right.
But that's just not the case. And so when you look at the broader scope of things, as far as like what people, like the watch company that's trying to get you to wear their watch and all that kind of stuff, it's super romanticized as like, this is the only thing that you need to
your
get.
Workout.
Or like sometimes,
lose weight. And
what's unfortunate, to me what's even worse is, the fitness center or gym that says, slap this heart rate monitor on, and like this is the only thing that you should care about is what the heart rate monitor says, and that's the only way to determine, did you have a good workout, or like, person A over here had a better workout because they burned 800 calories and person B only burned 500 calories, so person B didn't work as hard, even though person A is, a guy that's bigger and person B is a woman that's smaller, and that completely makes sense.
Or in better shape, even.
Right.
The thing that I hate about the calorie burn when it comes to your electronic is it almost rewards you for being out of shape.
Right.
Because if you are more out of shape, your heart rate is higher. It's easier to get that heart rate up. But if you are an athlete, you're living like an athlete, you have worked out, you have good cardiorespiratory conditioning, you have all of these things, it will be harder to get to a certain calorie burn because of what this watch is telling you, because your body has adapted, which is the point, right? Mm-hmm. So if you look at that, you would be like, oh, well, the best way to get that watch to say that I have more calories or burn more calories is to gain 50 pounds and be more out of shape. That would be just doing those things, which would be taking a step backwards in anything relative to exercise. If you do that, you'll burn more calories in that workout. Yeah. You know what I mean? In the exact same workout, with the exact same reps and the exact same volume and all of the other things that you measure a good workout with. If you do that exact same workout and you're out of shape, 50 pounds heavier, your watch is going to tell you burned more calories. And if you're in shape and lost that 50 pounds, you burned more calories. So if you look at it like that and that's your only tool, the metric doesn't fit the goal, because that's not what you want.
Right.
So it's interesting. But again, use it as a tool.
And be excited about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an exciting tool.
Yes. Right. But don't be too excited.
Not too excited, because only one tool though.
Right. Yeah. So
that is the hard thing, because it's like, it's hard to, because like, it just is the way it is. You know what I mean? It's you can't.
Well, think about it, and so like, and we don't get political much on this podcast, right? But think about it like political. It's the same thing as being political. You hear way on the right, you hear those voices very, very loud. You hear way on the left, you hear those voices very, very loud. But the people in the center that have policy beliefs on both sides, and they're just right down the middle, they make a decision for themselves on that matter versus the other thing. You don't hear the center of anything.
It's like the silent majority type of thing.
You just don't hear because there's not anything super exciting about it. You either have to be pro or completely against. You can't be like, well, there's nuances to something. That's where I live in almost everything that I do, and that's where science lives in all of these extremist views on exercise and conditioning. Is yes, a portion of that is true, but there's 10 other things that there's a portion of that is true that makes that don't hype that up as much as it's hyped up as an extremist. You know what I mean? So that's the toughest part, is how do you market or how do you get people excited for the center?
Right.
You know
it's very difficult to, it's super easy to, throw out and be like, oh, we're the place that does this, and like we do this crazy, what in reality is stupid.
Doesn't even make
thing.
sense.
Burn.
Right.
Is
you work out in the cold.
That you work out in the cold. Like, is there?
Because you burn more calories.
The science, not to get burn. Not to like put this place down too much, but
I'm down with it. I don't know anything.
We can.
There's no burn in our market.
The science that it was like, the guys were talking and they're like, here's the science behind it, and they slapped up like one bullet point, and the bullet point was like, scientifically better workout.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. How though? Like why?
Yeah.
But so like it's
that
hard
would be miserable, freezing my ass off trying to work out. Like my muscles would be so frozen.
Right. But it goes
Just
back to the
like-
point that like it's hard to.
I would
But you
just
can you can
Right.
be extremely excited about that
Yeah.
one point.
It's really
Right,
difficult
for
to
sure.
generate a
For
lot of
sure.
hype, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like
Overbalance.
we need to find a way to get excited and be hyped about stuff, but
Right.
it's really difficult to be hyped up and create this like
about balance.
image of like.
Yeah.
We have a scientifically sound program and periodize our training, and like you will lose 1 pound a week and sustain it.
right. That's
If
not
you do
exciting.
it,
that
that's not
anyway.
exciting.
Yeah.
We can't go out and be like, you're going to lose 20 pounds in a week and then gain it all back. Like it's just hard to generate
Yeah.
excitement about doing things
The
The
right
way
way.
we do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so
And being
yeah,
consistent. and
the
all
rant's
that.
over now.
Right.
It's done.
No, that's excellent. You know, and again, with that being said, let's jump into our word of the week, which is carbohydrates. So again, there are very extremist views about carbohydrates and keto and all these things that will either limit your carbohydrates or carbohydrates are bad and you can't eat any carbohydrates, or you can't eat any sugar, or you can't do any of these things. And any of those bullet points are able to be super excitable and entertaining and those type of things and get people grabbed in. But the fact is that if you know and count your macros and all this kind of stuff, carbohydrates are a needed but can also be a very easy thing to overeat. And so that's what we're going to talk about today a little bit. And just to remind everybody, with macronutrients, there's three, alcohol being a fourth pseudo macro, but three macros that we concentrate on in our nutrition programming. Number one is going to be fat. Number two is going to be protein. Number three that we're talking about today is carbohydrates. And so I always compare them to like a car, because everybody is familiar with this car. Protein is the car parts, the wheels, the seats, the steering wheel. Those are things that you need in your body, need in the car in order to have the building blocks for this car. Number two would be fat, would be the oil that helps the systems run in your body. It helps hormones and all those kind of things. And gas is the carbohydrates. So it is what your car uses for energy to get to point A to point B, and it's the same in your body. That your body prefers carbohydrates and broken down specifically into glycogen to power your body and use those calories as energy. So the definition on a Webster terms would be any large group of organic compounds occurring in foods and living tissues that includes sugar, starch, and cellulose. They contain hydrogen and oxygen in the same ratio as water, 2-to-1, and typically can be broken down to release energy in the animal body. So, so if you think about it on those type of things, like the biggest thing that I can start with is the difference between the sugars and the starches and all those things, because a lot of carbohydrates get demonized as anti-sugar propaganda, and the reason that does happen, I think, is because as humans, there's a lot more density in calorie, or a lot more calorie dense foods that are made up of sugar. So, for example, you can have a single serving of candy, a Mike and Ike or whatever, that is pure sugar, and that is a very dense food as far as caloric value, because you can have very high amounts of sugar in a very small volume candy, right? So if I eat one serving, might be 7 Mike and Ikes. So that 7 Mike and Ikes might have 30 grams, 28 grams of carbohydrates. So that 28 grams of carbohydrates, if you look at it from a more starchy type of food, you would get more full on a higher volume, starchy, more fiber type of carbohydrate food, say cereal, say rice. 28 grams of carbs in rice is very much different as far as how full you're going to get than 28 grams of carbs from a candy. And so that's why sugar gets a bad name, because it's
and the
very easily
micronutrients and
right. Yep.
And the thing with the 28 carbs there too is that's different in like how the volume of the food and how full you'll feel.
Right.
That's not different in the sense of these 28 carbs from the Mike and Ike's, the 28 grams of sugar from the Mike and Ike's, those are going to get stored as fat. But the 28 grams of carbs from the rice, I can use that. No, you'll will
use it all
right.
very similarly, and there's relatively no difference other than the time in which you will be able to, how long it will take to break those down. Sugars are already a processed broken down food, and when I say processed, it's not bad.
Be careful with process.
Right.
We talked about that already.
Yes. And so like your body breaks down or processes it. So it's either processed outside of your body and you ingest it, or it's processed by your body. That process is very similar when it comes to breaking these things down. So when I'm processing it in my body, I'm breaking it down to its smallest level. And so if you look at what the definition is, hydrogen, oxygen, becoming glycogen, if I have it as glycogen when I ingest it, or my body turns it into glycogen, it's all the same at the end of the day. And my body uses it as blood sugar, right? So glycogen, you eat whatever you're eating in whatever carb source that you're eating, your body breaks it down and makes that glycogen, puts it into your bloodstream. That bloodstream is the blood sugar that you've probably heard about and might be scared about as well. But you need that glycogen, that sugar in your blood in order to have energy for your muscles, for your cells, for what you're doing, right? And so that's the big thing that at the end of the day, it all enters your bloodstream in the exact same way. There might be a time difference, there might be a volume difference as far as how it makes you feel, but at the end of the day, you're using those calories for what it is. So if you, the bottom line is, if you equate, say I eat, take the human hunger element out of it, take all of that out of it. If I eat 100 grams of sugar every day for 10 days, or I eat 100 grams of carbs from another source that's a starchier, higher fiber source, as far as the carbs go, if I equal those out, I will be getting the exact same amount of energy for my body, period. No change, no difference. Now let's put the human element back in. If I just eat 100 grams of sugar every day, I'm going to be hungrier because I'm going to eat, that's going to physically be a smaller volume of food than over here. I'm not going to have as much fiber over in the sugar side. So I might, have bowel issues or different things that you get benefits from fiber. So there are benefits, and that's why I think that, again, we're center, where it doesn't matter if you have half of your carbohydrates made up by sugar, as long as you know and are tracking your carbohydrates. That's the important part. So your coach gives you a number, 250 grams of carbs. And if you have 100 grams of sugar, or if you have 50 grams of sugar, as long as you're not eating above what your allocated carbs are, you're still in a good spot. Now, if we talk about optimizing those things, if you optimize your nutrition, you would have a low amount of sugar, but you would still have sugar that is optimal in certain stages. So like post-workout, it is optimal to eat sugar because it's faster digested to get that energy that you just used put back into your body in a faster manner. And so there are optimal times to eat sugar, but that, the bottom line is that you should not demonize sugar. You talk about, insulin resistance and all this stuff that you probably hear in the media, or I guess in the media, or like what people and Twitter and Instagram verse. I don't even know, social media, right?
Social media probably the big thing. I would say. Yeah.
I guess I don't hear much about insulin resistance.
Probably not on the news.
Yeah. CNN and Fox News are not
I'd
battling
rather
over
hear
insulin
something
resistance.
like that than what's on there now.
But So that's one of the things that you probably hear a lot about on social media is that, oh, well, you don't want to overeat sugar because of insulin resistance and this and that and blah blah blah. And if, like most things, if you are not type 1 diabetic, you really don't have to worry about your insulin levels unless you're overeating. Once you get to the point where you've given yourself that insulin resistance, you are overeating sugar, overeating what you should be doing. You're eating in a surplus and gaining extra fat and that's how type 2 diabetes comes in, right? And so if you're not type 1 diabetic and you're not overeating, you do not have to say I'm hitting my 250 grams of carbs every single day. There's no worry about insulin resistance unless there's a pre-existing condition, right? So if I'm type 1 diabetic, I probably have to worry about sugars a little bit more because it's going to, the way your body reacts to blood sugar in your body is to release insulin and lower that blood sugar, right? Which basically is the truck that takes the blood sugar to the muscles, to the different things, right? So that's how it lowers your blood sugar. So if you don't have any issues already with insulin, then you don't have to worry about it. Even a person that is type 2 diabetic, and I'll make this, I'm not a doctor, so make sure that you're talking to your doctor if you are type 2 diabetic and you're looking for prescription, that kind of thing. Talk to your doctor first above my information here. But with that being said, if you are type 2 diabetic and you would decrease down to like carbohydrates that you should be at that then keep you in a deficit, you're still going to lose weight. You're still going to benefit your body, and you may even, there's been athletes that have reversed the effects of type 2 diabetes, essentially, making themselves healthier and not having to rely on insulin and all these things by just losing body fat. And they did that in a way that doesn't necessarily limit you on sugar or anything like that, but they have limited their overall carb amount. So I went from eating 1,000 carbs in Coke, sodas and candies and all this kind of stuff, and I limited it now to 250. Even if that 250 is half sugar, I'm limited to 250. So now I've decreased by, what is that? If I go from 1,000 to 250, whatever, however much percentage, right? So now you're in a deficit. So that's the thing is you have, it's not that sugar wasn't the problem in that sugar versus carbs, but it was an issue in overeating sugar. You know what I mean?
Right,
eating 1,000 grams of carbohydrates in the form of sugars.
Right.
So that's kind of a deeper dive into carbs. But on the positive side, carbs are very important. They're your body's preferred energy source. So if you don't have enough carbs in your body, that's why you get, if you are going super low carbohydrate, that's why you get brain fog, that's why you get super fatigued, that's why you have these things happen, is because if you are low on carbs, low on blood sugar, that's when your body needs energy. You're running out of gas and you need to add more gas to the tank, right? So that's what that's the purpose of carbs, and that's kind of the difference as far as what you may have heard in the social media world around carbs, sugar versus carbs and all of that kind of stuff. So a little bit of a myth buster as well, but carbs being the word of the day, kind of getting a whole view on carbs. With that being said, what carbs are you guys at on a daily basis?
I'm usually hovering at around like 300. I eat a lot of carbs. I get more carbs than most people do, I'll be honest. But
and I'm at and again, it's because of body weight. You're a bigger guy,
right.
And the amount that you're working out. So like I eat anywhere from 300 to 350, and that's my either maintenance or even deficit.
I mean, I've been at a point where I was eating high 300s in carbs and losing weight.
Yeah.
Rapidly.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like stuffing myself, and I was like weight was like falling off.
I have an athlete right now. Shout out Blake. That he has the potential to eat. I think he was north of 400 on a daily basis.
Yeah.
In order to just maintain.
Right.
And so then we, drop him down. He was losing body fat at a pound a week, eating about 300 plus grams of carbs, and needing to, because he was very full, because he's also, north of 250 grams of protein. So like he's full on his meals throughout the day. And so when he, in order to hit his numbers and not lose like 5 pounds a week, he needed to eat some candy and eat some sugar, because otherwise if he did it all in starchy, high fibrous carbohydrates, he would be so full that he wouldn't even be able to get it in.
Right.
And that's how I would be. I would need 400 plus if I was looking to gain weight, gain muscle.
Yeah.
And in order to hit that type of numbers, you're more, at least for me, I'm more comfortable eating the candy, plus than I like it. But I'm more comfortable hitting that candy at a higher density versus having that much fiber. Because if you're eating 500, if you're say 400, say 300 plus, if you're eating 300 plus grams of carbohydrates and you're getting them from starchy, high fiber foods, that's a lot of fiber.
That's a lot. You're gonna be full.
Right.
You're gonna get. You're probably gonna be naturally just eating that. Just naturally, you're gonna be probably north of like 50, 60 grams of fiber, and so that's gonna clean you out. That's gonna do a lot of different things. Yeah. So like you may not feel comfortable with that much fiber, and so then you have to make adjustments that way too. So there's a lot of things that have to do with carbs.
Probably 120 to 150 grams of carbs a day.
Yeah, but that's being 115-pound female, or how much are you at?
125.
If you don't mind, sorry.
I don't
Just shout you out.
125.
Just dox your weight on to everybody on the.
I don't.
But yes, I mean that's where the differences
So,
come from too. Is
And I feel good there. Like I don't feel like I'm maintaining, and I'm good.
Yeah.
right.
And you're able to perform, right? That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. If you don't have the amount of blood sugar that you need, and you come in to try a Krave workout, you might get lightheaded. You probably are not going to perform optimally in strength. You're not going to be able to do the reps or the sets that you're supposed to, or the weight that you're used to doing if you're underfed. And so all of that has to do with energy and making sure that you have the right amount of carbs in your body. And not to get too deep into the woods, but even like talking about nutrition timing, most of that has to do with carbohydrates and when you need the most energy, and how long you're going to optimize that energy and be able to use that energy. And that's plays a big role as well. So, again, that's getting to the top of the pyramid again, where like, don't worry about that shit unless you're eating the unless you get the 250.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay. I gotta roll out.
You got to be there at noon.
The house at noon.
Oh, cool.
And then I'm gonna go over to Waukee after that.
Paula.
Okay, bye.
See ya. All right,
See
so
you then,
our
everyone.
supplement of the week is our pre-workout.
Pump. Do we have a pump and a fury?
We do.
Sweet. We also picked the best flavor, Black Lightning, too. By far the
This is
best.
our Fury and our Pump. So basically what a pre-workout is, to get off of the carbohydrates, first you need the carbohydrates to have the energy. This then gives you a little bit more kick of energy and focus. So the Fury, we're just gonna be real quick on this, but we're gonna start kind of a supplement of the week too, so that people know more about our supplements and what we do. But the Fury is going to be your stimulant based, and so it's going to have the caffeine that's going to get you actually a stimulated energy. So 2 scoops is 375, 1 is 190 as far as the caffeine goes, and so this has creatine monohydrate in it. So it has 5 grams of creatine in it with 2 scoops, 2.5 grams if you don't. So this is going to be a great pre-workout if you are looking to, if you're earlier in the day. I don't like taking this if I'm working out late at night because it does have the stimulant in it that could have a post-workout effect on your sleeping. So earlier in the day, this is an awesome one that will get you pumped up, not only get you the energy without jitters, but then also get you the focus and the vasodilation that helps get nutrition to the muscles. The other one is our pump. Now that one is our stimulant free. So that one concentrates more a little bit on focus, more on getting the pump to the muscles, so the vasodilator without stimulants. So what I do personally is I have both, and depending on what time I work out, if I'm working out at 4:30 or after in the evening, I will do a pump as a pre-workout. So it's a great workout, or it's a great pre-workout to get you ready, get you focused, and get you the nutrition to the muscles, the energy to the muscles that hopefully you are also eating in the right amounts. And if you're not, working with a Krave coach will help you do that. But so that one's going to do that, but it's not going to have the stimulants that's going to wire you up for the rest of the night. Fury, anytime I'm working out before then, if I work out at 3 o'clock is the last time I'll do a Fury probably. And then I'll use that and I'll get a kick from the caffeine as well as the focus, as well as the pump, but then get your creatine in there as well. So pump doesn't have creatine, correct?
Pump, no creatine, no. Right, cool. Yeah, the Fury does, the pump does not. And then
so then with our, if you're on our nutrition pack, add your creatine to your pump. Do not add it to your Fury because this takes care of both. But with the pump, you can add that, and then on your off days where you're not working out, you're not taking either one of these, you can then do just your creatine, right? If you're on our pack. So our pack this season for strength season was the protein and the creatine.
Yes, and then there's no beta-alanine in Fury, is there?
What's that?
I don't think there's beta-alanine in there.
There is. Oh, no, I lied.
So I didn't think there was. So the beta-alanine, that's going to be, that's in the pump, not in the Fury. That's
the vasodilator.
Yes. A lot of people associate that with, like, if you take pre-workout and you get kind of like the tingling feel. Some people like it. So, like, personally, I like it. So that's why I tend to go with the pump, because I like that kind of tingling buzz that it kind of gives you. So I like the pump for that reason. And like I said, typically I'm working out in the afternoon, so the Fury I've taken the Fury before, and it tends to kind of wire me up at night a little bit.
Yeah.
So again, it's all a personal preference, and they both, are gonna, you're not gonna notice a massive difference, honestly, between either of them.
As far as your workout.
As far as your workout goes, yeah. But it's just kind of a personal preference. And like I said before, Black Lightning, I would literally drink this. If it didn't wire me up, I would drink this because it tastes good.
And Black Lightning, they usually have the same flavors for both.
Yes.
Fury has a few more flavors than Pump does, I think. But they have matching flavors. So if you do find a flavor you love, like Black Lightning, which I agree with, hit those up. But is that all we got today?
I think that's it. Yeah,
awesome. So that's the last segment of the day with our supplement of the week. So remember, if you can please do us a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, because that will help more people get to this. And we don't do ads, we don't do anything like that, so we don't interrupt the thing. Not saying that we never will, but currently we don't. But all we do is ask, if you got any value out of this, if this is information that you do like, share it with a friend. And help us grow the podcast to get to new ears and new eyeballs if you're on YouTube. But so remember, like, subscribe, and share. And remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.